Okay, welcome back to my TNA Impact review for March 8th, 2012. I have to say I didn't really like this Impact. I thought it was disappointing. There was only one match that was... Well, there was a couple matches that were okay, but they were both pretty short. And it had a lot of goofy shit on here, and it just overall was not a very good show. They've been doing better the past few weeks, but this week, really bad. So I'm just going to get right to it. It starts off with Garrett Bischoff pulls up to the Impact Zone. They replay last week when Ric Flair was telling him that if he shows up, there's going to be consequences. Cameraman asks Garrett, what's going on in his mind. He says he's not going anywhere and he's here to stay. We have Ric Flair, Gunner, and Eric Bischoff come to the ring. Eric says it's disappointing that it's come to this, but Garrett's pushed them too hard. Eric asks Sting to allow Gunner to get a partner and face Garrett, and a partner that he chooses to end it tonight. Eric says that Flair gave Gunner good advice and told him there would be serious consequences, but he knew that what Flair did was out of love. He says Garrett will have a tough time finding a partner, but Gunner won't. So Gunner's partner comes out, and it's Kurt Angle. Kurt says that he's happy to be tagging with Gunner, and he hates Garrett Bischoff because he doesn't have respect for his father. Angle says that everyone hates someone with the last name Bischoff. No offense, Eric, and I thought that was kind of a funny line. Eric gets this weird look on his face. He says that him and Gunner will make Garrett tap tonight. Sting backstage. Oh man, this was strange. Sting is putting this makeup on his face, talking to himself in the mirror. He keeps saying, just 10 days, Bobby, just 10 days. All of a sudden, Eric Young comes up, and he says that he wants to give ODB a big surprise tonight. And him and Sting, they do this insane thing, this insane back and forth thing. Sting says she wants gold. She wants a shot at the tag team titles, the Knockouts titles. And Eric Young asks him who her partner is going to be. Is it Moose? Which I guess he means Mickey Knuckles. And Sting says that Eric Young, you're going to be her partner. And this was crazy, but it was funny. So at least it was entertaining. Sting starts to put some makeup on him. He says you're a warrior. And then Eric Young leaves, and Sting starts talking to himself in the mirror again. It was really bizarre. But, it's Joker Sting. So it is what it is. Eric Young and ODB versus Madison and Gail Kim for the Knockouts tag titles. ODB is basically the one wrestling the girls the entire time. She hits a Bronco Buster, and Eric Young climbs in the ring and gets in position for one. I thought that was pretty funny. Eric Young does hit a double airplane spin on Gail Kim and Madison. Madison throws ODB into the stairs on the outside and grabs the title. Eric Young takes off his pants, and Madison hits him with the belt in the back, behind the ref's back. And he falls over, but he lands on Gail Kim. She's struggling, but she can't get out from underneath him, so the referee makes the count. And we have new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, ODB and Eric Young. Eric Young gets on one knee in front of ODB, and he offers her a ring. She takes the ring, and then she gets on one knee and offers it to him. And he says, yes, yes. And he runs her on the ring. He jumps up. She holds him up in her arms, and they both fall over. And that was it. They show a clip from earlier today with Mr. Parks, Joseph Parks, arriving to see Impact officials. And Taz and TNA, they're like, Joseph Parks? Who's Joseph Parks? So they come back to that later. We see Bully Ray backstage. He says he's not going to, he says that Storm's not going to lock down because of him, and that Sting will do the right thing tonight. Austin Aries backstage gets an email from Sting about him facing Zema Ion tonight. He calls it a bad business decision, and it's going to take away one of the only reasons people are paying for this pay-per-view. This was all true. I mean, Zema Ion versus Austin Aries for the X Division title is scheduled for the pay-per-view for Victory Road, and they're giving it away on TV tonight for free. And it was a title match, which I didn't think it was going to be, but it was for the X Division title tonight. And it just doesn't make sense to do that. I kind of figured Zema Ion would win somehow, because you have to have the guy win going into the pay-per-view. If Aries beats him, then what's the point? So at least they followed through with that, but I mean, just having it at all was ridiculous and unnecessary. Zema Ion versus Austin Aries for the X Division title. It was a good match, but it was pretty short. At one point, Zema misses a 450 and lands bad on his face, it looked like to me. He grabs the hairspray, slips into the trunks. I noticed that the hairspray is covered in these pictures from a magazine that I guess Zema cut out and taped all around it of girls. I guess he had some spare time and wanted to decorate the hairspray can. But he grabs the hairspray can, he goes to spray Austin Aries behind the ref's back. Aries ducks, grabs the can, and he sprays Zema Ion. The ref sees it, disqualifies Aries, giving the win to Zema Ion. Like I said, I figured Zema would go over somehow in some wacky, crazy thing, but it just made the match unnecessary at all. Backstage, we have Joseph Parks again. He's talking to Velvet Sky, and he says that he is Abyss's brother. Abyss's real name is Chris Parks, and he refers to him as that and Abyss. He says he's looking for him, and Velvet doesn't know where he is. It's crazy. Abyss is this big monster. His father is James Mitchell in storyline, and here they are just calling him Chris Parks, his real life brother, looking for him like this is some real angle that's happening, and it's just absurd. Bully Ray comes out, says he's Calfzilla, and he took out James Storm as the guy, and is the guy who should be the #1 contender. He calls out Sting. Sting comes out, and he's acting all crazy. He says Bully can't just make a title match because he injured somebody. Sting has Bully repeat that he wants to face Bobby Roode. Bully Ray keeps saying he wants to face Bobby Roode, wants to face Bobby Roode. Sting says he has the best calves in the world. Sting gives him the match. Bully asks if he wants to touch the calves. Sting says no, and the match is after the break. So we see Roode backstage complaining to Sting. Sting says it's not for the title, and that's going to be for against James Storm at Lockdown. And he says, don't forget the Yellow Brick Road, because you're facing me at Victory Road. Just more wacky goofiness here with Sting. Then we have Bobby Roode versus Bully Ray, non-title match. Bobby Roode comes out, he's acting all freaked out like he doesn't want to wrestle Bully Ray. He gets scared by the pyro. Roode says that he just wants to talk. Ray tells him to take off his belt and get ready to fight. This was a pretty good match. It was a little short, but I kind of see what they're doing with this. Bully Ray goes for the chain. James Storm runs in street clothes. Bully Ray takes off. He hits the last call super kick on Bobby Roode, and then he lays the title down over Bobby Roode. I thought Bully Ray versus Bobby Roode would be a more important event and something that they could build on later down the road, but thinking about it, it's hard to do a match with two heels, and I would rather them, because they did it early, it kind of shows that neither guy is going to be turning babyface anytime soon. So I guess rather than wait and do a build-up for Bully versus Bobby Roode, it's better to just have them wrestle here on Impact tonight, and that way they can both stay heels, because I like them both as heels, and I like this because I would rather them be heels than later on down the road one of them has to turn face to have this match and feud. So I thought this was okay. Backstage, Garrett Bischoff says, you'll find out who my tag partner is when everyone else does. Joseph Parks goes to see Matt Morgan and Crimson. He asks them if they know where Abyss is, or if they know anyone who would. They don't know anything. And then he leaves. Crimson says to Matt Morgan that it doesn't matter that you cost us the match. Let's just go out there and beat Robbie E and Robbie T. They agree to be team players and go out there. You can tell they're breaking up soon. Robbie E and Robbie T versus Morgan and Crimson. I noticed that the two Robbies are wearing pink sweaters, which reminds me of the Bravado brothers in Ring of Honor. This was not a very good match. I think Robbie E is the best wrestler in this match. Well, Matt Morgan's okay, I guess, too. But I did notice that when Crimson was in a pin. Unless I misheard, TNA says something about almost lost the undefeated streak. But I thought they didn't count his tag matches for his undefeated streak, because so far he's lost a lot of those. Including when he was first debuted and was tagging with Steiner. But anyways, Matt Morgan hits the carbon footprint on Robbie E. Crimson tags himself in, gets the cover, and gets the win. The two of them, Matt Morgan and Crimson, argue on the way up the ramp. So yeah, they're definitely breaking up soon. AJ Styles says he has a surprise for Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. We see Gunner backstage. He says that Kurt Angle is a great partner and he's done a lot in this business. Kurt says that he hates Garrett because he doesn't listen, and it doesn't matter who his partner is because he's sending them both to the hospital. AJ Styles comes out. He says in a couple months it will be the 10th anniversary of TNA. He says he made a lot of friends and enemies. Says who would have thought a guy named Brother Ray, now Bully Ray, would be a part of the front line back then. Christopher Daniels and Kazarian interrupt him. Daniels says that he was his best friend. He came back to stand by AJ, but he got AJ Styles' fortune and fame, and all AJ got him was fired. So that's why he put himself first and told Kazarian to do the same thing. Kazarian grabs the mic and says, everyone turned on you because you're gullible. You trust people with stuff you shouldn't. And he says, maybe it's not everyone has turned on you. Maybe it's not us, it's you, AJ. And he says AJ is a disease that needs to be cured. AJ says he just sees some backstabbers in Kazarian and Daniels, and they're the reason he doesn't need friends anymore. And then he says he's going to start associating himself with a, and then we hear asshole. And Mr. Anderson makes his return. He comes out. Him and AJ fight off Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. And later on they announced that next week on Impact we're going to see Mr. Anderson versus Christopher Daniels in his match. First match being back with TNA. This was okay. We have Garrett Bischoff backstage talking to someone. We can't see who it is. He just says, I'll see you out there. We have Gunner and Angle versus Garrett and, big surprise, Jeff Hardy. That's the mystery partner. Oh man, this was a horrible match. Horrible main event. They keep putting Garrett Bischoff in the main event. This is not working. Gunner and Angle actually get the heat on Jeff Hardy the entire match so that Garrett Bischoff can get the hot tag. That's exactly what happens. They destroy Hardy the entire time, trying to protect Garrett because everybody knows he's a shit wrestler and he can't work. So he's barely in the match. He finally gets the hot tag. He hits some shitty, sloppy moves. One of the moves, he actually looks like he hurt Kurt Angle because he doesn't know how to wrestle. And then he hits a double clothesline. Hardy tags himself in. Hardy hits a swanton on Angle for the win. And that was it. It was shit. So that was Impact for this week. Like I said, I didn't really like the show that much. It just wasn't very good. This whole Garrett Bischoff thing took up a lot of time. They showed him backstage maybe 3 or 4 times, and then he was in the main event. And it does nothing for me. I did not like it at all. So that's my thoughts on this week's Impact. I hope you guys liked the review. I'll be back tomorrow with my review of WWE SmackDown, so I hope you guys check that out too, and thanks for watching.